AITA for asking for a paternity test after my ex told me she was pregnant with my child? I, 31M, had leukemia when I was 11. I spent 2 years in and out of hospitals, chemotherapy, radiation, the whole nightmare. I beat it, obviously, or I wouldn't be writing this, but the treatment left me with a permanent souvenir. I'm sterile, with a virtually zero sperm count. My oncologist explained this to me when I was 16. The chemo nuked my fertility. It was a lot for a teenager to process, but I've had 15 years to come to terms with it. I'm telling you this up front because it's important to the story. My ex and I dated for 2 years. We broke up about 4 months ago. The relationship wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. She had a habit of making everything about her needs and dismissing mine. It started with small things. Always picking the restaurant. Always deciding what to watch on Netflix. She'd get upset if I made plans without consulting her. Then it escalated to bigger things. She didn't like my friends, thought I spent too much time with my family, and would get weird whenever I talked about my software development job, stuff she didn't understand. The breakup itself was pretty standard. I told her I didn't see a future with us. She cried, called me selfish, and said I was throwing away the best thing that ever happened to me. Classic. I helped her move her things out of my apartment over a weekend, and that was supposed to be the end of it. 3 weeks ago, I got a letter, a physical letter, which should have been my first red flag, because who sends letters anymore? It was from her, handwritten on fancy stationery with little flowers on the border. The gist was, I'm pregnant. It's yours. We need to talk about co-parenting. I know this is a shock, but I think we can handle this like adults. I stared at that letter for about 10 minutes. Not because I was processing the possibility of being a father, I knew it was impossible, but because I was trying to figure out her angle. See, here's the thing. She knew about my cancer. She knew about the treatment. But I never explicitly told her I was sterile. It's not a first date conversation, and by the time we were serious enough for it to matter, I guess I just did not. I figured we'd get to it if we ever had a serious talk about kids. We never did. So, she either genuinely believed I could be the father, betting that I was ignorant of my own fertility, a dumb move, or she knew I was sterile and was counting on me not having the paperwork, a risky gamble. I decided to be direct. I sent her a text. I got your letter. I'll require a paternity test before we discuss anything. Her response was fast, like within 3 minutes. Are you serious? A paternity test? After everything we've been through, I can't believe you would doubt me like this. I have never been with anyone else. This is your baby, and you need to man up. I didn't play into the emotional manipulation. I just replied, it's standard procedure. I'll gladly pay for it. Let me know when you're available. Then came the voicemail. Oh man, the voicemail. How dare you? How dare you treat me like I'm some random person? I gave you 2 years of my life. I loved you. And now I'm carrying your child. And you want to treat me like a criminal? You know what? Maybe I made a mistake telling you. Maybe I should have just handled this on my own. But I thought you deserved to know. I thought you'd be happy. I was clearly wrong about who you are. I saved that voicemail. Something told me I might need it later. A week went by. More texts from her demanding I accept responsibility. Her mother texted me. Yes. She gave her mom my number at some point, telling me I needed to do the right thing and that running from this wouldn't fix it. I didn't respond to any of it, just documented everything. And then came the knockout punch. Another letter, but this one wasn't on flowery stationery. It was from a law firm. A legitimate one. I looked it up. The letter stated that my ex was pursuing all legal avenues to secure proper child support, that I should prepare for paternity proceedings, and that my continued denial of responsibility showed a pattern of avoidance that would not be viewed favorably in court. They were actually trying to take me to court for a baby that couldn't possibly be mine. That's when I went on the offensive. I called my oncologist's office and requested copies of my entire medical history related to my cancer treatment and the subsequent fertility tests. They sent everything over via a secure patient portal in 3 days: diagnosis, treatment protocols, follow-up tests, and most importantly, 3 separate semen analyses from when I was 16, 22, and 28, all showing azoospermia. A fancy medical term for, you're not making any swimmers, buddy. I drafted a letter, keeping it clinical, emotionless, addressed to whom it may concern. In response to the paternity claim, I have attached my medical records documenting my sterility as a result of childhood cancer treatment. I have a diagnosed condition of azoospermia, confirmed by multiple tests over the last 15 years. I am biologically incapable of fathering a child. I suggest your client identify the child's actual father. Any further attempts to pursue a fraudulent paternity claim against me will be met with corresponding legal action. I have retained counsel. I hadn't actually done that yet, but I figured it sounded good. I sent certified copies to her lawyer, to her directly, and kept one for myself. Then I waited. It's been 6 days. Total silence. Her mom, who had been texting me daily, suddenly stopped. Her lawyer hasn't responded, and my ex? Nothing. A part of me feels bad. Not for her. She tried to commit fraud, but for the actual situation. If she's really pregnant, there's a real father out there who doesn't know. Or maybe he does know, which is exactly why she came to me. Either way, it's not my problem anymore, but something tells me this isn't over. The silence feels too sudden, like the calm before something ugly. I'll update if anything happens. Update 1, 9 days later. Well, the silence is over. Spectacularly. First, let me answer a few questions from people who saw my first post. Yes, my medical records are legitimate and legally obtained through a HIPAA request. Yes, chemo-induced azoospermia is well documented, and my oncologist has confirmed it multiple times over the years. And no, I don't feel guilty for exposing her lie. She tried to legally compel me to pay for a baby that wasn't mine. That's fraud. Now for the chaos. Days after I sent my letter with the medical records, I received another letter from her lawyer. The tone was different this time. Our client disputes the validity of the provided medical records and requests an independent verification of your claim status. Furthermore, she maintains that she had no other partners during the relevant gestational period and stands by her original claim. We advise you to submit to a court-ordered test to resolve this matter definitively. They were doubling down. Even with medical proof of my sterility, they wanted to pretend it wasn't real. This time, I called a real lawyer, a guy who specializes in family law. I explained the situation. He literally laughed out loud when I told him about them disputing the validity. They're stalling, he said. Either she needs to find the real father, or she needs to come up with an exit strategy that saves face, I guess. They're hoping you'll settle just to make it go away. He drafted a response that was far more lawyerly than mine. Our client's medical history was provided in good faith and is fully verifiable through his treating physicians. Should your client wish to initiate paternity proceedings, we welcome the opportunity to present this evidence in court. However, we must advise you that filing a fraudulent paternity suit constitutes perjury and attempted fraud. Should your client proceed, we will seek all available remedies, including but not limited to the recovery of legal fees and damages for harassment. The bottom line. Bring it on, but you're going to lose, and it's going to cost you. That letter went out on a Tuesday. By Thursday, things got complicated. My ex's sister, who I'd always gotten along with reasonably well, showed up at my apartment building and buzzed my unit. I wasn't going to let her in, but she looked genuinely distraught, not angry, just sad. Can we just talk for 5 minutes? I'm not here to yell at you. I let her in. I kept the door propped open because I'm not an idiot. She sat down and immediately started crying. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. She told all of us it was yours, swore up and down. My parents have been telling everyone they're going to be grandparents. My mom has already bought a crib and baby clothes. I understand this is awkward, but you know I can't be the father. You saw my letter. I know. I looked it up after you sent those records. Azoospermia, 0 sperm count. I get it. But she's still insisting. She's saying your records are fake, or maybe you had some kind of miracle. No miracle for me. I've been tested 3 times in 15 years, all with the same result. A long pause. She was seeing someone else. Obviously. I think I even know who with. There's this guy at her office. She was always weird about him. Mentioned him too much, and then didn't mention him at all. You know what I mean. I knew exactly what she meant. I'd noticed the same thing, but had convinced myself it was nothing. I confronted her this morning. She went absolutely ballistic. Started screaming that everyone was against her and that you were poisoning the family against her. Then she threw me out of her apartment. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't know. I guess I think you deserve to know you're not crazy. And honestly, I'm furious with her. She's made our whole family look like fools. My parents are devastated. They thought they were getting a grandchild from a good relationship. And now they find out their daughter was unfaithful and then tried to scam someone else into paying for it. She left after that, apologized again, said she'd understand if I never wanted to hear from any of them again. Honestly, I appreciated it. It was the first sane conversation I'd had about any of this. But then came Friday. I got a call from my landlord. Apparently, someone had contacted him claiming I was running an illegal business out of my apartment and was a danger. He was calling to find out what was going on. Turns out, my ex had found his number and called him with a bunch of nonsense, mentioning unsafe activities, noise complaints, and threatening behavior. None of it is true. My landlord has known me for 3 years and didn't believe it, but he was obligated to follow up. On Saturday, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, this is weird. But I think I need to tell you something. I work with your ex. She's been telling everyone at the office that you got her pregnant and abandoned her. She's trying to get sympathy donations for baby stuff. She asked me to Venmo her $50 for a car seat. It was real. I sent back a one-line reply. I'm medically sterile and have documentation to prove it. The baby is not and cannot be mine. His response, holy crap. I'm telling everyone. By Monday, I'd heard from 3 other people at her workplace, all asking variations of the same thing. Apparently, she'd been laying the sympathy on thick, telling coworkers she was a struggling single mother-to-be whose deadbeat ex refused to support her. One of them sent me a screenshot of an email she'd sent to the whole department asking for secondhand baby items because she'd been abandoned by the father. I forwarded it to my lawyer. He added it to the pile. Her, the pregnant victim, abandoned by her heartless ex. The reality, someone who was unfaithful, got caught, and tried to make someone else pay for it, literally. I don't know who the real father is. I don't care anymore. But I'm starting to think he may have found out too, because yesterday someone posted in a local neighborhood Facebook group asking if anyone knew a good family lawyer for a complicated paternity situation. The poster is a guy who works at the same company as my ex. I'm getting popcorn for this one. Second update, 16 days after original post. Buckle up, because this got a lot messier and has, finally, resolved. Remember the guy from the Facebook group? The one asking about family lawyers? My friend, who is still Facebook friends with people from my ex's work, did some digging. Turns out he's a project manager at her company. Mid-30s, married, 2 kids. Yep, the affair had apparently been going on for about 8 months, which, if you do the math, means it started while we were still together. The timeline of her pregnancy lines up perfectly with when it would have happened. This is where it gets crazier. His wife found out. Not from me. I had nothing to do with it. She found out because my ex, in her infinite wisdom, started panic texting this guy after I sent her the medical records proving the baby wasn't mine. Texts like, "We need to talk. You can't ignore this," and "You're the only one it could be." He'd been ghosting her, just not responding. He was hoping she'd go away, which meant that when his wife saw those texts on his phone, she had questions. I heard all this secondhand from the sister who visited me. She called me 3 days ago. She sounded exhausted. It's all falling apart. The guy from work, his wife, called our mom screaming about how her daughter destroyed a marriage, and now she's going to have to explain to her kids why daddy is moving out. Wait, he's actually leaving? His wife kicked him out. He's staying in a hotel. And here's the thing. He's furious with my sister. He's telling anyone who will listen that she told him she was on birth control, that she told him the baby wasn't his, that she tried to pin it on you first. He's painting himself as the victim. How convenient. No, they're both awful. But now my sister is in full-blown meltdown mode. The guy won't return her calls. His wife is threatening to sue her for alienation of affection or whatever, and half her coworkers won't even look at her since the fake paternity stuff came out. Is she dropping the claim against me? Actually, that's why I'm calling. No. What is she? She's doubling down. She told our parents that even if the baby isn't yours, you owe her damages for publicly humiliating her by sharing those medical records. She wants to sue you for defamation. I had to put the phone down for a second. She wants to sue me for defamation for proving her paternity claim was false. I know. Believe me, I told her she was insane. So did my parents. Her lawyer apparently told her it wouldn't work, but she's obsessed. She just keeps saying you ruined her life and you have to pay for it. I thanked her for the heads up and called my lawyer immediately. His take, she can file whatever she wants. It'll get thrown out. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation, and you have documented medical proof that everything you said was true. If she files, we'll file a countersuit for malicious prosecution and frivolous litigation. She'll end up owing you money. So I waited. 2 days ago, I got what I was expecting. A letter from her lawyer's office. Different letterhead this time. Looks like she switched firms, probably because the first one realized they were representing a lost cause. The letter said, "Our client has decided to withdraw the paternity claim against you. However, she maintains that your disclosure of her personal medical information and pregnancy to third parties constitutes a violation of her privacy. She is willing to waive any legal action in exchange for 1. A formal written apology, 2. A payment of $15,000 for emotional distress, and 3. A non-disclosure agreement preventing you from speaking publicly about this matter. $15,000 and an apology for defending myself against fraud." I wrote the response myself. My lawyer cleaned up the language, but the content was all me. "Your client initiated this matter by falsely claiming I was the father of her child and pursuing legal action based on that false claim. All of my disclosures were in direct response to her accusations and necessary for my legal defense. Your client's pregnancy was disclosed by her in her original letter to me and in subsequent communications to my landlord and various third parties, where she presented herself as an abandoned pregnant woman. I have made no public disclosures beyond providing truthful medical evidence to refute her false claims. Your demand is rejected in its entirety. Any further correspondence of this nature will be considered harassment. Should your client file any further frivolous claims, I will pursue all available legal remedies, including recovery of fees and damages. This matter is closed." My lawyer added some extra legalese and sent it off. That was yesterday. This morning, I woke up to a text from her mom, the same woman who had been demanding for weeks that I do the right thing. "I owe you an apology. I believed my daughter without question, and I said things I shouldn't have. I know the truth now. I hope you can move on with your life. Please don't respond to this. I just needed to say it." I didn't reply, but I did screenshot it for the file. So here's where things stand. My ex is pregnant with her coworker's baby. The coworker is in the middle of a messy divorce. His wife is apparently taking him to the cleaners. My ex has been moved to a different department at work. Not fired, but sidelined. Her family knows the truth, her coworkers know the truth, and the guy she was involved with wants nothing to do with her or the baby. The legal threats against me have evaporated. My lawyer says there's virtually no chance she'll try anything else. It would only make things worse for her. And me, I changed my number. Blocked everyone associated with her. I saved all the documentation just in case I ever need it again. Final update, 21 days after original post. This is my last update because, mercifully, there's not much left to tell. The final piece fell into place 3 days ago. I got a call from my lawyer saying he'd received one more communication from my ex's legal team. Not a threat this time, just a short statement. "Our client acknowledges that the paternity claims against your client were made in error. No further action will be taken. Our client requests that you refrain from any public discussion of this matter." Made in error. That's how they phrased it. As if she accidentally accused me of fathering a child I biologically cannot create. Like it was a clerical mistake and not a calculated attempt at fraud. My lawyer asked if I wanted to push for anything, a formal admission of wrongdoing, compensation for my legal fees, something. I thought about it, but honestly, I'm just tired. I just want this to be over. I told him to just send an acknowledgement of their letter and call the matter closed. No agreement to be silent. I'm not signing anything that restricts what I can say about my own experience, but I'm not actively seeking anything either. It's done, at least legally. Here's what I know about the aftermath, pieced together from her sister and a few mutual acquaintances. My ex is about 5 months pregnant. The coworker, the real dad, is officially getting divorced. His ex-wife got the house, primary custody of their kids, and from what I hear, a very generous alimony settlement. He's living in a 1-bedroom apartment and, according to his colleagues, looks like he's aged 10 years and 3 weeks. He and my ex are not together. As I understand it, there was a brief period where she thought maybe they could make it work, since the truth was out anyway. He apparently told her, and this is a direct quote that's been passed through a few people, so take it with a grain of salt. "You tried to pin my kid on another guy. Why would I ever trust you?" Fair point, honestly. My ex's parents are still speaking to her, but barely. Her sister told me their dad won't even be in the same room with her for more than a few minutes. Her mom is supporting her with practical pregnancy stuff, but the relationship is strained. The family had to inform their extended relatives that there would be no baby shower because circumstances have changed. The co-workers who donated money for baby items asked for it back when they learned the truth. Apparently, that was a whole separate drama I only heard about secondhand. Something about an HR complaint and a very awkward all-hands meeting. As for the defamation, the demands for money and an apology all completely dropped. It turns out that when you're known for being unfaithful and have just committed paternity fraud, threatening to sue the person you tried to defraud is not a great look. Her new lawyer probably told her she'd be laughed out of court. And I'm okay. No, I'm great. This whole thing took a toll on me. There were nights I just sat there, angry about how close I came to being legally on the hook for someone else's child. If I hadn't saved those medical records, if I'd never had that adult fertility test done, if I had just believed her and tried to do the right thing, I'd be paying 18 years of child support for a baby that was never mine. That's what keeps me up sometimes. How easy it would have been for her to win. Most guys don't have definitive proof of sterility. Most would get a paternity test, sure, but she could have dragged that out for months, maybe years. She could have started getting support payments before the test even came back. The system isn't exactly set up to protect men in these situations. But I got lucky. Childhood cancer gave me the one piece of evidence she couldn't argue with. There's a silver lining, I guess. I'm not dating right now. Probably won't for a while. This whole experience made me realize I need to be more careful about who I trust, and I need to have certain conversations early in relationships, including the fertility topic. It's awkward to bring up, but the alternative is apparently much, much worse. Her sister reached out one more time just to apologize and say she hoped I was doing okay. I told her I didn't hold anything against her. She was caught in the middle of her sister's mess. We're not friends or anything, but we left on okay terms. Hey, for what it's worth, she said, I don't think she's learned anything. She's already blaming everyone else. You, the coworker, our parents, even me for being against her. She'll never admit she did anything wrong. That's her problem now, not mine. Yeah, it is. That was the last contact I had with anyone in that family. So here I am. New phone number, same apartment, same job, same life, just minus one manipulative ex, and plus a whole lot of paperwork I hope I never need again. Someone commented on my first post that I should write a book about this. I don't think I will, but I am keeping all the records in a fireproof safe, just in case she ever decides to try something new down the line. My lawyer said it's unlikely, but with people like her, you never know. Cancer tried to take my life when I was 11. It failed, but it took my fertility. For 20 years, I thought of that as a loss, something stolen from me that I'd never get back. It turns out, it also gave me an ironclad defense against one of the oldest tricks in the book. I'm not saying I'm grateful for what I went through. I'm not. But I am grateful that when someone tried to use my body against me, my body had the receipts. Take care of yourselves, document everything. And if someone tells you you're the father, get the test. Even if you think you trust them, especially if you think you trust them. Thanks for following along. Comment. After everything, I keep coming back to the idea of quiet strength. It's about knowing your own truth so deeply that no one else's chaos can shake it. Setting a firm boundary is not an act of aggression, but an act of profound self-respect. You can't control how others behave, but you always have the power to choose your response. Responding with facts and calm resolve is always more powerful than reacting with anger. Even in the middle of a storm, you can find moments for grace and kindness. Sometimes, the final victory isn't about winning the fight, but about deciding you no longer need to be in it. Our past struggles can unexpectedly become the very source of our resilience today. I hope you always find the courage to protect your own peace. That is where true healing and the freedom to move forward begin. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.